What is up, guys? It is Niles and we're back working on my Cutlass, and today we are going to be installing a vacuum pump on this car. If you've been around cars long enough, you definitely had heard the term that engines are pretty much giant air pumps. That's completely true. They suck in air, they make power and spit it back out. And in that process, they produce something called vacuum. And vacuum has a variety of uses. In the 60s and 70s, it was used to actuate door locks, trunks. It's used in heater doors to move the baffles inside of the AC system. And it's still used today to operate brake boosters in many cars. And once we switch to electric, we're gonna lose this giant vacuum pump. So I'm installing a Hella vacuum pump. These are pretty common with guys running bigger cams or engines with low vacuum. The one we are using is one that I pulled from a Volvo in the junkyard. But to tell the pump to turn on and off, I am also going to be using a vacuum switch. I also pulled this part from another wrecked Volvo in the junkyard. So when I was making this bracket for my power steering pump, I actually added a bracket for my vacuum pump. So this will actually fit in right here next to the power steering pump. But before I put that on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out this connector for a different one. Old pigtail is off and a new one is on here. Also, the pump is also in. It fits nicely here. It also has these rubber isolators from the factory, so that's really nice. This right here is a check valve. These pumps don't have an internal check valve, so if you turn it on, it'll suck for a second, but when you turn it off, it'll instantly lose the vacuum. So that's why you have to put one of these on here. The check valve for these GM vehicles are usually up here, so this right here. So what a check valve is it allows air to flow, vacuum to flow one way, but not the other. So it's kind of a safety thing. So this keeps like the vacuum inside the brake booster. Also, fun fact, I think I might flip this brake booster upside down eventually, because it is a square bolt pattern. So by flipping upside down, it will put this on this side, so a little bit closer to the firewall, save a little bit of room. Now that the vacuum pump's in, I'm gonna put the vacuum switch into my brake booster, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to route these lines. I'm thinking along here, along the fender, but I also got to keep in mind I'm going to have to worry about the smaller vacuum lines that operate inside of the car. So I pulled off the air cleaner so I can get a view of the carburetor, because the carburetor has where most of the vacuum lines go. So the vacuum lines, they either go to the manifold or to the carburetor. So I kind of wanted to see where everything went. We are going to have to leave the engine side vacuum alone. So there's usually vacuum lines that go to the ignition module, or they go to the emission control stuff. We're going to have to leave that stuff alone because it uses the engine vacuum to sense kind of like when to open and close. So we need to keep that on there just so we can keep the engine running. But what we can separate is all the stuff for the AC box and stuff for the brake booster. And then, so this is also the switch, vacuum switch. I think it would fit a lot better on this backside once we flip this brake booster over, because it is kind of running into the reservoir. And I kind of wanted to run the line up and over. For now, I'm gonna have to run it underneath. All right, so for the hose, I have it routing right around here, and it goes in the inside of the fender and comes out right here alongside the relays, and then down to here where it's in a kind of like a T fitting, sort of like a F, I guess, where it goes from this to a smaller one. So this is going to go to the climate control stuff inside. But I didn't want to do this today, but I think I might have to just flip the booster over, just because this is like super annoying how it's kind of fitting. So I'd rather just have it over there. But I'm going to do a quick test. I'm going to have this capped off, and I'm going to put 12 volts to the pump. Alright, cool, so it's holding a vacuum. You can see how the brakes feel. So brakes feel pretty good. You can hear the vacuum being released when I press the pedal. Okay, I have this quickly wired. It's not ideal, so I'm gonna have 12 volts going to this switch, and then from here it's gonna go down to the vacuum pump. I just want to make sure that that works. Honestly, it should go into a relay, but I just want to make sure that this thing turns on and shuts off. It's running. Okay, shuts off. Cool. Just gonna hear the vacuum pump working. Cool. That's cool. Both pieces work. But there's a slight leak somewhere. So I kept looking for a vacuum leak because the pump would keep turning on even though nothing was using vacuum. And I think I found the culprit. I heard it coming from here. I thought it was just because the hose is too big or something, but turns out the way that they make this is this little piece right here is threaded into here and there's no sealant on it. So if you use this and you're getting a vacuum leak, probably put some sealant on that. So I thought today was going to be easy, just install a vacuum pump, route it, but I think I am actually going to flip my brake booster upside down. There's 4 bolts right here. I don't know if I should reward myself and do the easiest one last or do the easiest one first, because these ones on this side are kind of hard to get to. So the goal is to see if I can take off the brake booster without undoing any brake lines. Yep, couldn't do it. Alright, so brake booster is upside down, and one issue I could not foresee was this line lock is actually blocking that. So I'm going to have to take out a little bit out of the base of that, but not a huge deal. So it was actually a pretty big deal. This bracket, the way it's made, it goes straight down from the driver's side. And if I did that on the side, it would hit that. And this is a lot longer than the original check valve, so I would have had to cut this up and also cut the line lock out. So what I did is I ordered another one of these, but I told them to bend it on the opposite side, so it'll be bent facing this way. So I'll have the clearance on this side, so that should fit within there and allow that to be there. I just have to remake the lines for the line lock and shift everything kind of over, but that's fine. For now, I'm just going to be doing the wiring until this piece comes in. So wiring is pretty much done. I cleaned up the wiring from the power steering pump too, as well as the vacuum pump. With the vacuum pump, I have it running back here to this relays, these set of relays that I have. These relays are from a company called Leach Electronics, and I quickly made a bracket, and I used one of the original holes in the fender, and I made this bracket out of just 16 gauge. But to signal the relay to turn on the pump, here is the switch connected to the brake booster. This will be eventually connected to a 12 volt source, but once this gets 12 volts, it'll tell the switch, it'll send a signal from the switch to the relay. So when I put this to the battery, the pump actually turns on, and then I'll shut off. So I actually really like these because this lights up, but I am gonna put another light in the dash so I know when the vacuum pump's running. Very happy about the routing of this vacuum line. I ended up switching the check valve for the correct one. So the one that I had was for a Volvo, and the barbs on it were too big. So this is a 3/8 one. I think the other one I was using was 1/2 inch. But I think it looks a lot cleaner on there. And also having everything kind of clamped down around here and then right here as well. And then it looks just a lot cleaner down there. The original one. Also put another check valve right here to keep all the vacuum sort of in the brake booster, sort of like stock. But that looks really good. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time when I'm working on this Cutlass again.